Hello again, welcome back to Asgard, and welcome back to ATM Spellbound. So since the last episode, it's been a little bit of time. I've been doing just a little bit of work around here. One thing I do want to mention, I did switch out our zombie in exchange for a cobby. And that's so I could basically get cobby combs. Because I was thinking about doing the ceiling with those, but I'm not totally sold on those at the moment. I kind of like the crappie bee honeycombs. However, I'm not for sure because it says it spawns in the world, but it actually doesn't list any biomes. So I'm not for sure if it will spawn. I've got to go out in the world and see if I can maybe find one. I haven't seen one as of yet. I did also get gravelly bees. I think I've got, actually, there's two. I thought I had three of them. Maybe I just have two of them. Oh, no, there's another one right up here. Okay. So I do have three gravelly bees. But I've gotten a bunch of combs, and I've been storing excess combs in here. I've also prepped up a lot of stuff that we're going to be using today. And I did notice as I was building this out, it actually kind of cuts into this section here on both sides. So we're actually going to be using these two instead of having an apiary set up in these. We're actually going to set these up as item storage. And then down here, of course, we're going to have some sections that cut in, and we're going to use those for other types of rooms as well. Because we don't necessarily have to have all of these apiaries. All the housings be apiaries, you know, they can be some other things. We may even use some just to store some animals in, you know. But we'll see. But I have been cleaning this up, and now that I've got access to lots of combs, I can do lots of fun things like our frame doors here that are kind of hidden behind these honeycomb blocks. This section here is not really cleaned up, but anyways, what we're going to be doing today is automating our bees and getting this stuff set up for automation. Now, just like the create stuff, it will not be plugged up to our larger storage system. We're actually going to be plugging it up to drawers for today. And then here in just a couple, it might even be next episode, because I'm kind of getting some recording, kind of catching back up on recording after the tornado, and then I'm kind of trying to get a little bit ahead on recording because it is Christmas week, so I know I'll be busy a bit this week. So trying to get just a little bit ahead. So it'll probably be next episode. We're going to be pushing towards actually plugging up our create system and our bees to our larger overall storage network. So, but anyways, we've got a few things prepped here. All this stuff is basic craft, so I didn't feel the need. We did get a few achievements here, but I didn't feel the need to actually craft it all on camera or anything like that. But we're going to set up, first up, a centrifuge. And this, of course, is just a 3x4x3. So I've got a little space here, and this is where we're going to be setting up our centrifuge. This block here, we're going to have be our centrifuge controller. So we'll just put that in right there, and that gives us the multi-block structure. Now, of course, whenever we process our honeycombs, we can get fluids. We can also get items. We're not going to be using bottles at all, so we're not going to worry about the input there for bottles. And then we are going to be generating power. One thing I did notice last episode, whenever I was editing the footage for last episode, I said that we could do create power, Botania power, nature's aura power, also resourceful bees power. We can't actually, I don't think, do create power within this pack because I think it's an add-on that adds that, if I recall, and it's not present in this pack. But that's fine. We're going to be going with honey power because it does make sense. So we just got a honey generator here. We're going to be setting this up. We're going to be setting it up right here for our honey generator. Basically just having it butted up against our centrifuge so it will provide power to that centrifuge once it starts running honey. So for example, we are going to need to jumpstart this a little bit. So let's go ahead and just grab these honey bottles and let's get ourselves just some of these combs. These tend to, I think, produce the most honey. So we're going to be going with these. And I have this set up just because I can bulk craft a little bit easier with that. Because I've been kind of compacting combs, but we're not going to be compacting combs manually much longer. So, but let's grab these. And then if we were to throw in these honey bottles, which we're going to get some more of these, of course. We've been using them to make our glazed ham, but it'll be a little bit easier for us here shortly to do that. So you can see it is generating power, and that power is going over to the centrifuge. And then if we throw in, say, our honeycomb blocks here, it's going to start processing those. Let's go ahead and just split it like that. I actually needed some beeswax for crafting something here in just a moment anyways. Now at this point we can, I think, toss this centrifuge. I don't think we're going to need it anymore. So you'll notice that just a few honey bottles, and of course those are only a fourth of a bucket, it produces a lot of power. It produces a massive amount of power, plenty to run this. This has stopped up. That's due to honey in here. It can't run that last honeycomb block. That's fine. You can see we got a lot of outputs there from that. Now what we're going to do is we are going to set up... Let's go ahead and run our fluid system because we're going to be pulling this liquid honey. This liquid honey, of course, is going to be very important to us. Now it is important to note that when it comes to setting this up, you're going to have multiple different fluids. Because we're going to have regular honey, we may also have catnip honey, we may also have rainbow honey, we may also have starry honey, we may also have lava, water. There's a bunch of different fluids that can come from our bees, so we are going to be setting up so that we can manage those fluids. But what we're going to do is we're going to run out fluid pipe here. No, I'm sorry. Let's actually have the mechanical pump be right here. So it can pull the fluid from that. And then we're going to have, we're going to be pulling the fluid from the centrifuge into these pipes. Now it is important with create fluid pipes to make sure that all your connections are actually going somewhere, because it will just kind of dump that liquid if you don't have it going somewhere. Now one thing we are going to make real quick is we're going to make ourselves a few smart fluid pipes. Yeah, I don't have those. But I think starting with 3 should be okay. That'll at least get us started, and then we can add on. Because right now we don't have any bees that produce starry honey, but we do have bees that produce regular honey. And we have bees, really I guess 2 for right now. We have rainbow honey and regular honey that will be coming in. So let's go ahead and get ourselves... We'll go ahead and get ourselves 2 smart fluid pipes. And we're going to have 1 smart fluid pipe attached right here. And we are going to, let's actually turn off, for right now we're going to, oops, I guess that would work too, but we're going to turn off that because we don't want to fill our buckets right now. And let's grab ourselves a bucket and let's just, oh, apparently that happens. Let's grab ourselves a bucket of this honey here. And we're just going to take and we're going to put that right into the fluid filter. And we'll just dump that in there for now. And that way it only allows honey to pass through here. And then we're just going to run up fluid pipes. And we're actually going to go up all the way with this. Just like so. And then up here, we're going to plug up... I want plenty of honey storage that we'll be able to access later on. For various different things. So we're going to set up nether honey tank, nether honey tank, nether honey tank like that. So we do have 3 nether honey tanks that will be able to store up honey. Now bear in mind that we can upgrade the centrifuge, we will, but we need a lot of netherite to do that, like a whole lot of netherite. So we're going to wait on that. So just a heads up there, but... anyways, we're going to be storing up 3 tanks full of honey. We can upgrade these to purple later on, but for right now, this should be good. Now, another thing that we're going to do is we are going to be setting up a congealer. We're actually going to need a few of these today. Let me go ahead and grab like a bit of this beeswax. And let's, today, I think 2 will be good. Though we will expand on this later on. And we're just going to put in a congealer here. And then we're going to grab ourselves just a couple hoppers. And what we're going to do is just run that down like so. And then we can have just like a chest or something like that down here that then our foliates will be able to access. So Let's see. This chest might do it as honeycomb. Maybe. I might change it, but if I decide to, I'll just use the framed hammer and pop that off. But that way, it'll bring the items from the honey congealer down to a manageable level. And of course, what the honey congealer does is, if it has honey, it's going to congeal that into a honey block, and then it'll get sent down here. And let's go ahead for right now, just put these right into there. Okay, so now, once we plug up the mechanical pump, it'll start pumping the honey up, and then kind of, it'll kind of prioritize, with the way it's set up, it will prioritize the honey generator, because the honey is going to pass through, and of course it's going to take more honey to start going vertical with it. And then it'll be the nether honey tank, and then once it gets up here, it kind of just splits between the honey congealer and the nether honey tank. So we should have lots of liquid honey available, and then once we have a lot of it, then we'll have honey blocks, and that way we pretty much have access to all the bee stuff. You know, we got liquid honey at the ready. Of course, there is a recipe here where you can get the honey bottles, but I would like to have some liquid honey here. So now what we're going to do is we're going to have some of this split off, and I think what we're going to do is, let's just open up. See, if we did a pillar here, we would have 1, 2, 3, 4 with ample space. And what we're going to do is we're going to set up frame chest like that, I think. And then I could have a pillar. Yeah, that should work. Oh no, actually, I don't need this many though. We're going to have catnip honey, rainbow honey, starry honey, and I think there's a starry honey block, rainbow honey block, regular honey block. Is there a catnip honey block? No, it doesn't look like it. So that'll just be something kind of for fun, I guess. Yeah, so we'll actually only need 2 frame chests. While we're at it, let's just go ahead and get another congealer. And then what we'll do is we'll bring this over like that, and then we're going to bring it up right here. And then the way we're going to have this laid out is we're going to have the honey congealer sitting here and here, and then we're going to have the hopper just directly underneath that. And then this, it may be best just to go ahead and bring it up by 1 more. And then what we're going to do is we're going to have a smart fluid pipe sitting right here. And this one is going to be, let me grab a bottle of this rainbow honey. Nope. Okay, we're actually going to need a bucket, I think, to set this. That's fine. We're going to have a nether honey tank like that. Let's go ahead and open this up for now. We'll get all this built out. Now, some of these pipes won't be completely visible. Some of them will be. I might even raise the ceiling here just so that we can see all the way up. And kind of have a higher ceiling here, maybe. Yeah, it wouldn't actually interfere with anything, so we might do that. But let's grab our rainbow honey bottles, and we're just going to put these in right into there. Just dump all this rainbow honey. So you can see we have 10.8 buckets in there, and then let's go ahead and just grab a bucket of that. And we're going to put this right into our fluid filter. So only rainbow honey can come this way. And then, of course, if it goes into the congealer, it's going to get turned into rainbow honey block, which we can then process into 54 of any color dye. So instead of using the glass bottles, we'll just cut that out entirely at this point. So only rainbow honey is going to be able to go this way, and it's going to go here, and then excess will get sent down to the honey congealer. And then what we're going to do is run that up. We're going to put in another smart fluid pipe. This one is going to be setting here. This one is going to actually be managing, let me open this up just a little bit just so we can jump up here and it makes it a little bit easier for us. This one is going to be for managing the starry honey, which we are currently producing. So for right now, soul lava, yeah, we'll just set it as soul lava. until we get some actual starry honey, and then we'll change it over. Because soul lava isn't something that we're going to be producing. Now, there is a bee. There should be a bee that produces soul lava. Oh, maybe there's not. In ATM 6, there's a bee that produces soul lava, but it doesn't look like it's in here. I don't think this pack has all the bees that ATM 6 has, but that's fine. And then the starry honey, what's going to be starry honey, is going to run out, and we're going to just clip this off by turning it into a glass fluid pipe, because then it won't connect aside from just going straight. And then we'll do the same thing here, and then we're going to run that out. We don't want it to connect there. We do, however, want it to connect right here, so we're going to do that. And then it's going to run down and plug in right there. So it's going to once again kind of prioritize the nether honey tank, but then excess is going to run down to the honey congealer, and that way we can make those starry honey blocks. So there's that. That's all plugged up at this point. And we will have some stuff on the other side. That's going to be related to like the catnip honey storage, lava, water, that kind of stuff. And then we're going to set in place also a little bit of automation for some various things, because I would like to, once we get everything up and running, it may not be this episode because it's going to be a little while before I need it, but I would like to set up maybe bee nest automation. We're actually going to be doing that with item control that we're going to be getting in a couple episodes. So it's, like I said, it's not going to be something that we do today, but that is something that we will be adding, as well as a few other things over on this side at a later episode. So that's pretty much everything related to the centrifuge, aside from just plugging it up with the create power. Now, before we get over to that, this is starting to kind of build up, and I always hate seeing it build up. It builds up very, very quickly. So what we're going to do is we're actually going to set up this little area over here real quick. And that's where these compacting drawers are going to come in. This side of like the bee housing is going to be for combs and things. This side is going to be for centrifuge outputs and just item outputs from this system as a whole. So what we're going to do, glass will be sitting here, so we're just going to set up some compacting drawers, and these are going to come out, they can come out like that, and they can come out like that. We're actually going to be using some floorboard pieces to actually cover up this. Let's go ahead and get ourselves just a little bit of dark oak trim, like 2 crafts, that should be fine. And we are going to, right here is going to be our comb connection. And I'm assuming that foliats can access this, but we're going to find out here very, very soon. But what we're going to do is just run this back and then connect that up with the trim. Run this over. And then we're just going to have a controller slave attached right here. So our foliats should be able to, theoretically, if they can access drawers, which I think they can, if I recall, our foliats are just going to access the slave here. For transferring honeycombs to the centrifuge. And then what we're going to do is we're going to put in our drawer controller setting here, I think. And then we will fill out more of this with compacting drawers, but not today. This is going to be enough to get us going, and then we'll add more compacting drawers. And so then what we can do is we can take, for example, we'll help them get kind of set up. Let's grab a few of these. We're going to put in, well, the zombie honeycombs we're not actually running at the moment, because I did remove that, but we're going to go ahead and slot those. We're going to slot in the, with the spooky, and let's actually go ahead and lock this in real quick. But we're just going to go ahead and slot in all of our honeycombs. And we're going to be putting these through compacting drawers, and that's just so that they automatically will compact for us, and that way we don't have to set up a crafting system or something like that to compact. It's automatically getting compacted just by the storage that we're using. Did we already use these? I don't think so. So that's the 10 honeycombs that we're currently have produced. Of course, zombie we're not producing at the moment. And then what we're going to do is we're just going to set up a foliat. You can see I did craft up 4 foliat books. We're going to be using foliats to transfer the items around this area here. Let me kill this bug. I need to set up some warding pearls in this area. Might be something I do after this episode. But let's go ahead. Just drop this one in here. And of course, we're going to have a foliat per apiary. But that's going to add a lot of movement to this area. Plus, we're going to have the create stuff moving, and we're going to have the bees moving. So I think it'll be quite nice. Let's go ahead. We're going to say set extract to here. So he's going to be extracting from the apiary storage. And we're going to set his filter mode to blacklist. We're just going to throw in like that. So get everything but that. Is he not getting this stuff? Well, we'll find out. And then we're going to say set deposit to there. Yeah, it actually doesn't seem like he's wanting to pull out. Now, if he has the comb, oh, he gets stuck. It's weird. Without that block there, he works perfectly fine. Yeah, it seems like it's just any block there is the issue. I think blocks here are just fine. It's just whenever there's a block there, he gets very confused. Like if I put that there, yeah, he suddenly stops working. How strange. So that's working. I just got to figure out what I'm going to do with the floor and the pillar here, but I should be able to figure out something for that. But he is transferring the stuff, so that's good. But I did go ahead and empty it so we can kind of make sure that he can keep up, but I think there's going to be no issue whatsoever. Since he can move a stack at a time, I think he should be fine. He's waiting for items at the moment. But okay, so now that that's running, what we're going to do is we're going to come up to here. Hopefully they can access the controller slave. Since technically they can deposit into the drawer controller. So we're going to find out. But what we're going to do, we're going to set up a foliat. This book we don't need. But let's go ahead and set up a deposit. And that deposit's going to be here. And then we're going to set up an extract. That extract is going to be here. And we're going to set him up. If we take a look at honeycombs, we're going to be looking for, honestly, we could just go with valid apiary. That would work. We could also go for resourceful honeycomb block. That would work. Just anything that differentiates, in this case, between a honeycomb and a honeycomb block. So, for example, we're going to do resourceful bees honeycomb block. Yeah, he can deposit just fine. He just can't extract from the slave. This would be so much easier with nodes, but I want these guys to work. So extract from there then. There we go. Now he's working. Now he sees it. Now, of course, he can't deposit anymore because we're backed up. We have this filled out, so he's just going to be hanging out for the time being. It looks like he can't deposit. He can't extract from the top. So we're going to have this kind of sticking up. Honestly, I might, in that case, still set to extract. Perfect. What I might do in that case is bring it just a little bit closer to, like, say, here. That way it's not just jutting out of the middle of the floor there. So we'll have the slave sitting right there. And we are going to be, in a later episode, we're going to be setting this up in a way that we have so many honeycombs kept in stock and then so many sent out. But we'll get to that just a little bit later, in a later episode. Because we will have kind of a follow-up episode later on once we get a couple things in place, just kind of going over the automation and doing some small little updates to it. So, okay. So he can start moving the stuff up to the centrifuge. So now we just have to plug up some power to this, and then it can technically start running at this point. All right, so what we're going to do, let's open up right back here. And let's just come straight down for right now. Right in here should be good. And let's find where this plugs up at. Okay, that's going to be right there. My idea is we're going to be going, I was originally thinking water wheels, but we're actually going to be going with windmills. We haven't set up a windmill yet, and water wheels are nice, and I imagine they could probably work with honey just fine. However, what I have in mind is kind of having these be almost like, sort of like honey turbines that kind of churn this honey. Because, of course, windmills, it doesn't matter where you put them. It's kind of strange that it hasn't been fixed within, or set up within Create, so it actually checks for like an open space. But you can have them in a box. You know, I've set them up in a box before. What we're going to be doing, let's see. We could have one be set up in here, and then I'm thinking like a pool of honey whenever you come down. So I don't have it built out yet because I don't have lots of honey at my disposal. But we're going to. After this episode, we're going to have a lot of honey. So let's go ahead and just clear this out a little bit. We are going to come up like... We'll start it, say, right here. We're going to put our windmill bearing in right there, I think. And then we are going to run out... I'm going to have to go cut more wood, it looks like, but this should be fine. And we'll go ahead and put the sails in real quick. And we're going to have a bunch of sails. And then we'll dye it. Once we get a bunch of the dyes in, we'll dye it. And then I've got to put the, like, the Lake of Honey and do some decorating. But this is kind of what I have in mind. We'll open this up just a little bit more so we can actually kind of see it move and run. And then we'll have another one kind of adjacent to it just for more stuff. We're going to have a few different things from Create down in this area, actually. And I think we should be able to run it all just off windmill power. I think we will go with the striped helix log, and then I'll have the yellow come up and then the black on the corners. Yeah, I think that'll be good. So we'll put the first one down, and then, of course, we're going to glue it. Put another one in, glue it, another one, and so on, all the way down this. And then that'll come out, and then I'll put maybe a button or something on the front of that, and then we can run the rest of our sails. And we will dye these here shortly. So, and then we can just, of course, right-click that, and there we go. We got a mild breeze, so it's not a fully powered windmill. But the speed's not too bad on this. And of course we can speed it up. Now let's go ahead and run this out. And now depending on how our rotational force is when we get up, we may have to change this. But of course you can click right here with your mouse wheel and change the direction of this. So just kind of bear that in mind. Now we need to come up right here. What we're going to do, we're actually going to speed this up just a little bit because if this runs just a little bit faster, it will actually help us out quite a bit. It'll increase the speed that we're actually going to be pumping this stuff out. And I wouldn't mind it being a bit quicker. That way it kind of gets more suction, faster honey. Because especially whenever we upgrade to the next centrifuge, this thing is going to be pumping out a lot of honey. So we're definitely going to want that. So let's go ahead. Put in a cog there, another cog here, and then we'll go ahead and speed it up just a little bit more. Okay, now let's get ourselves a gearbox, and we'll go ahead and change this one over to a vertical. And then we can just bring this up. This should be a pretty good speed, I think. And then let's go ahead and get ourselves another gearbox. So it's going to sit right there. Now before we plug this up, one thing I do want to do is all of our lumber honeycombs. Let me just grab these out for now, because I have a lot of flooring to run, and it's going to be a little while before I actually get this plugged up. At least another episode before I get it plugged up to where we're not just dumping all the honeycombs into the system. Because of course, for crafting more apiaries and stuff, we are going to be wanting to keep some honeycombs. And if we have any issues with the foliates, I may end up switching this over to like nodes or something. We'll just see how it goes. I kind of hate having to break these. So we may end up changing it to nodes and just have these foliates removed and just have the one up here and the one that's going to be moving items over. We'll see. We'll see. But okay, so let's go ahead now. Let me dump these into here. Let's go ahead and plug this up, and all we have to do, of course, is just put a cog on right here. And that's going to start churning that up. And let's go ahead and see. Yeah, it doesn't look like we're actually getting honey out of here. We take a look here. Yeah, it's not pulling the honey. What we need to do is we need to reverse that. And you can see now we're actually starting to be able to process again. And we're starting to actually pull the honey out. You can see it's starting to fill up in there. You can see honey coming into here. It's going to be backing up on power. And items are starting to pour into this at an extremely fast rate. Lots of cobblestone, lots of sugar. Okay. Now we need to set up storage on the other side so that we can actually start storing these items and getting them out of here. I think what we're going to do is we're going to have the controller slave setting here. And we're going to do the same thing with the trim as before. And these may go back a little bit further, so I may not have to run it back quite so far. But for right now, we're going to run it back all the way to here, I think. And then we'll go ahead. We'll put the controller in right here. And then let's get ourselves some drawers. We're going to be going with, I think, 2x2s. And we're going to be using some void upgrades, I think. Just because I think it's going to be plenty of storage, especially with storage upgrades. So we're just going to go like that. And like that. And we'll cover the top. It won't be any issue for us to kind of clean this up a bit. So there we go. There's that. And then let's go ahead and grab like some beeswax, cobblestone, sugar. And we are going to slot it in. Beeswax can go there, cobblestone, and sugar. Something like that. And then let's go ahead and get ourselves a foliate. And it's time to configure this one. We're going to be setting up the deposit. The deposit is going to be here. The extract is going to be there. And we have to configure this. We are going to be setting up a blacklist. Let me actually... Can I do this? And copy. And then just come in and paste and set that to blacklist that. Okay, yeah, he's not seeing it. He might be seeing the honeycomb blocks or something with the way this is set up. But if he gets cobblestone, he can do it. Well, okay, well, can I go ahead real quick and get at least a couple void upgrades? And go ahead and void the cobblestone. We'll add some storage upgrades here in just a moment, but that way he gets all the cobblestone out. Let's go ahead. Can I not just type it out as a blacklist? There we go. I have to... okay, if you paste, you have to backspace and then replace like the K in this case, you know. Because he wasn't working without that. Let's go ahead and slot this. We'll just do it like this will be like mystical essences or something. And let's go ahead and get ourselves... well, I'm going to need some more of these. I made up a bunch of 2x2 half acacia drawers so that we had a lot of this stuff. Oh, that's one too many void upgrades. Let's go ahead. We're going to add 2 storage to each of these, and then a void to each of them. No, I didn't realize I had... I actually do need that one, and I need one more. And we'll go ahead and set those to void excess. Okay, so this is kicking away. All the items are getting deposited down into there, and you can see our honey tanks are starting to fill up, like at a very good rate. We have lots of honey coming in. The purple tanks will be able to store a lot more, But this is still going to be able to store, what, like 30 buckets? That should be fine, because that's a combined amount of 90 buckets. Not to mention we've got 10 buckets in there, and then everything else will get turned into honey blocks. So that should be good. And let's see. It's coming out. You can see it's not really moving fast enough to go through here. But of course it can't go down these pipes. Let's go ahead, actually. Click that so we can actually see it. I think I'm going to build this in a way that we can actually see those pipes back there. Because I don't know, I kind of like the idea of like the bees and the pipes and like some level of create kind of technomancy going on in here to a degree. Now let's go ahead and add one more foliat. This one is going to be depositing here. Or actually, let's have it be here. And then let's do the extract is here. Oh, and we're going to whitelist the honey blocks. Are you really stuck there? Or do you just not know where to put it? Because it doesn't have a space right now. Let's find out. Honey blocks going in right there. Okay, yeah, he's just stuck. Oh, no, he got unstuck. Great. Good for him. He's figured it out now. Okay, so our honey blocks will start getting transported. Now, we'll need another foliat over here for the rainbow honey blocks. But we'll get to that once, once it starts running the RGB. The RGB combs. Right now, it's not running those, so... And what I may end up doing, since I know we're not going to have enough space in here for all the possible combs that are going to be coming from everything, what we may do is have this floor all get deposited here, and then the floor below it have kind of different combs, but still plugged up to the same drawer network. Or really just have, just another storage bay maybe. Well, we will have this system down here, so I don't know. And then once I get this area built out, I may change the spindle block. I don't know. I mean, I think it's probably going to be fine, but we'll see. Oh, these are just about filled. Yeah, it looks like it's 32 buckets. And I think it's 64 for the purple, and I think it's 16 for the wood. So, yeah, it looks like we're starting to produce honey blocks. Now, one thing we do need to do, because it was brought up in the comments a few episodes back, we need to make a one probe readme. We're going to change it to not needed because it's on extended by default. We're going to change it to not needed. So that now, if we were to toss this away, we can hold shift and we can actually see the items. So a big thank you for the comments on that. I forget about the one probe readme. And honestly, I forget which Wayla one probe mod the pack even has. I never think about it. I'm just like, oh, okay, it's one of them. Let's just go with it. Most packs have it set by default to allow us to see the extended information without having the one probe, but this pack, normally it's set by default, so you have to actually pack this thing, but that's just something else we got to pack around. We don't want that. But that way we can see how many items we have stored within these drawers. I really hate this flickering effect. I'm honestly considering taking off the dusk arc just because that drives me insane. Let's just remove that. We don't really need it. It's not something we really ever use. It just causes flickering. And it looks like he is keeping up pretty well with this. So, yeah, that's good. And the nice thing is this dimension, they don't stop working at night because there is no night. They only stop working whenever it rains. So, that's quite good. Quite good. But yeah, so all of our bee stuff is now being processed. He's working. I'm going to have to do some messing around and see if I can figure out something with the door here. Because he does not like the trapdoors here. Maybe slabs, like I said. Might be able to put those in. It wouldn't really hurt anything to have those put in. But I'm going to have to do some playing around as far as that goes. This guy does occasionally get stuck. Oh, it looks like we have dirt coming in at this point. Let's grab that. Add it in. Now, since we're running honeycomb blocks, these will get processed fairly quickly. And it looks like he does get unstuck eventually, so it's not really a big deal. Yeah, it's actually chomping through all those honeycombs that we produce, like at a very, very quick rate. So how many? We have 48 honey blocks at the moment. So that's pretty good. And lots of other things. Lots and lots of other things. But yeah, so everything is now being processed by our foliats and our centrifuge set up here. Now we just kind of have to build out this area and get everything set up. And then, of course, once we start running the RGBs, I will need another foliat. They're super cheap to craft. And it's just going to move the items over from here the exact same way that this one's set up. So, but yeah, so I know it's about wrapping up point for this episode. We have plenty of honey, and of course we can just bottle it straight from these tanks at this point. If we need to make ham, we can set that up for automation later, but for right now, if we manually bottle 16 or 64 bottles, you know, that's going to keep us going for quite a while. And we've got plenty of honey basically backlogged into these tanks for us to do that. We can also craft it with the honey blocks, but either one works fine. And we have nothing really beyond the blocks just coming from the honeycombs. We have nothing being voided at this point. As far as our liquids and stuff, you know, they get turned into the honey blocks. And that's my plan, is not to void the liquids. Even though there is the fluid trash can, we're not going to void the liquids. We're going to use them, and then we can void the final output, I think, is how we will do it, I do believe. So, but anyways, I hope you guys enjoyed the episode. If you did, as always, be sure and hit that like button and go ahead and subscribe if you're not already, to stay updated with when new videos come out. And I hope to see you guys for the next episode. Next episode, we are going to be switching over to a different mod and basically getting into a little bit of expanding our item logistics options, I think. There's a couple other mods that are going to help expand our item logistics, and so we're going to be tackling one of those, and probably the other one fairly quickly after that, I think. But I think it's time that we get a little bit stouter item logistics and start plugging more things up to our overall network without overflowing our system. So, but anyways, I hope to see you guys next time. Until then, as always, do take care, stay safe, and I'll see you guys then. Okay, and I wanted to give you guys a quick update after this has been running for a little bit. I was editing some footage and doing a little bit of cleanup in this room. You can see I've kind of built this out a little bit. And I brought these pipes over. They're not currently going anywhere. But I did go ahead and bring them over because they're going to be for storing fluid a little bit later. But a couple small changes that I did do. This actually isn't built so you can get back here. But I did go ahead because I noticed when this was running RGB, the RGB combs, it was running other combs, and the honey and the RGB were kind of battling to get pulled out, and it was only moving like 20 millibuckets at a time. It was really, really slow because it wasn't consistently moving just one fluid. It was kind of bouncing back and forth. And so what I did was I just set up I moved our smart fluid pipe over here for the honey. So the honey can pretty much only go here. And you can see this is blocked off, you know, it can't go past that point. And then this one just flows over. Now it's not filtered at this point, so occasionally it might check for honey, but it's not actually going to send the honey anywhere, because the way that creates mechanical pipes work, you know, it basically shows it running down here, but it's not actually moving the fluid until it finds a valid place for it to be sent. And there is no valid place for honey, so it checks here, and then it says, oh, okay, I can't send honey there. But generally it doesn't even check, because this one is just consistently pumping out the honey. So this one will grab the RGB, the rainbow fluid, and send it over. Oh, I didn't put, that should be copy blocks back here, but I missed it. So in that case, I'm going to just toggle on redstone. This is the way I build up combs, is just telling it can't move combs, or it can't process combs, and then they back up after a little bit. So I basically just got two mechanical pumps running off of each other. I did speed these up just a little bit with some more gears, just to make the checking and the pumping a little bit faster, because we can support it at the moment. But this is going over. You can see rainbow fluid has backed up. I did have to set up another foliat that's moving those rainbow blocks at this point. This travels over, and then we're going to have smart fluid pipes coming off of that with different filters, basically for storing up those liquids. And then we'll probably have these pipes continue on to another chamber, but we'll handle that a little bit later. Probably have them either come back here or go off in that direction to another chamber where some automation type stuff is done for the, you know, like the water and the lava and the... Also, I did shift over the drawer controller slave just to make this a little bit more symmetrical as far as the setup goes. But I did find that putting the framed corner pillar here, you'll notice, like, if we get... Well, it's not running anything. Let me grab a few honeycomb blocks real quick. We've got a bunch. We've got a bunch of resources in here at the moment. But if we grab, like, say these, and we toss them in right here, you'll notice he actually goes around it. He doesn't get stuck. Because he's seeing that framed corner pillar, I guess, as a block, so he actually walks around it. So I'm thinking I can do the slabs over here, and it should work. He should go around the door instead of trying to go through the door. I think this one's just seeing those trap doors as a transparent block, and he's thinking, oh, I can walk through that. But, of course, he can't. He cannot walk through that. So, but, yeah, I just want to show you guys those few small changes and little updates to the system. So, anyways, I hope to see you guys next time. Until then, do take care.